Hi everyone. So we're going to be going through our new eOceans project that we're collaborating with today. So starting off by introducing us, we're Iti Maafushivaru, Maldives. We are in the South Ari Atoll of the Maldives. And as you can see in the bottom right photo, that's our little island. We are 350 meters long, and that's it. And we're a very small island. We have a small island across next to us. It's called Lenobu, which also has a small reef surrounding it as well. And as you can see, we're an atoll, so we have a nice little reef surrounding us as well. Just to introduce myself, my name is Phillipa, but everyone calls me Pippa. I'm the resident marine biologist here on the island, and to tell you a little bit about myself, I finished my majority of my school actually in the States, in Massachusetts, but the last of high school I finished in Germany at the Bavarian International School. And from there I went on to Bangor University to get my degree in marine biology and zoology. And then figured, you know what, why stop there when I can get a master's? So I did a master's at the University of Aberdeen in marine conservation. And a little bit to say what we do here at Maafushivaru and why being involved in the eOceans project is very important for us and helps us day to day. So we are involved in collecting data for the Manta Trust as well. So this is mainly getting IDs of their bellies, as every manta has a different pattern on their stomach. It's like a fingerprint. So we put it all into a large database, and it allows us to track different mantas around the Maldives. So we work hand in hand with the Manta Trust and the Maldivian Manta Ray Project. We also work with the Maldives Whale Shark Research Program. That's very similar to the Manta Trust. We get IDs of whale sharks, and here in the South Ari Atoll, whale sharks are known to be seen year-round. So it's not just seasonal here, it's year-round. And this also helps us, like the mantas, being able to track the species around the Maldives to see where they're going, what they're doing. Very similar, the Olive Ridley project, we also collect ID footage for them as well, and this allows us to track them around the Maldives as well. The Olive Ridley project also are really big on ghost nets, so any ghost nets that we find in the ocean, we are collecting them, bringing them in, taking multiple different photos of them at different angles and reporting it and uploading it to the Olive Ridley database. And last but not least, we're collaborating with eOceans as an ocean partner in the Our Oceans in COVID-19 project. So we're really looking at the positives and negative effects of how the pandemic has had on our oceans worldwide. And I think it's really important to get a Maldivian approach on it as well, because I think not everywhere is going to be the same. It really helps us day to day to see these positive and negative human interactions with the ocean during the pandemic, because for us here at Maafushivaru, we are in the water pretty much every day. So we see a lot of what's going on, and we're really looking forward to analysing it and looking at it further. So moving on.
I'm the founder of eOceans. We also have Ronnie on the call, also from eOceans. You'll hear from her later. I'm on the call because I'm the founder of eOceans, but I'm also a marine scientist. So I've been leading global crowdsourced data projects for many years. And right now I'm leading, along with Pippa, all the national and international perspective on this Our Ocean and COVID-19 project, but I'm also developing with the other two people you see on this slide here, the mobile app that you are using to deliver this project. So you'll hear more about that later on. Thanks. Oh, next slide.
Okay.
So eOceans was founded with the belief that our ocean can be radically more exciting and valuable if we make faster and more collaborative discoveries. We need to work together. So the eOceans platform, if you switch to the next slide, works like kind of like putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. When you're out at the ocean, every observation you make is a tiny little piece of that puzzle. So if you look around, there's no marine scientists around, or even if you are a marine scientist, those observations can all get stitched together so that we get a better picture at the local, regional, national, and global scales. Next slide. And this brings us to the Our Ocean and COVID-19 project. So I'll bring it back to you, Phillipa.
Thank you. Okay, so going on to where we are in the Maldives specifically, I've included a map of the full of the Maldives, a full map of the Maldives on the left, and I've circled the atoll we're in. This is lovely right there, and a little zoomed in version of it as well on the right-hand photo. We're just down here in the bottom right corner, Maafushivaru. That's us right there, very small. Just to give everyone an idea of where we are in the Maldives and where we will be collecting our data for the eOceans project. Moving on to the next slide. So throughout COVID, we have seen some positive and negative effects that the pandemic has had on our oceans. And a couple of the main positives we've seen is that our whale shark population around here and our manta populations are very, very happy. They seem to, I think, forget that, you know, humans exist, and they've been enjoying the time literally swimming by themselves without any of us bothering them. And when I got back out here in August, we were seeing whale sharks every trip we went out on. So we were going out 6 days a week, and we had a 100% success rate every time we were finding whale sharks. And they were very, very happy, very inquisitive. We do follow the code of conduct here that the Maldives Whale Shark Research Program has set. So you must stay 4 meters away. You always swim on the side, never in front, never on top, never behind, and never underneath. But these guys were happily coming very close to us and just checking us out as if they're like, oh, what are you? So I have a video here that we can play if it doesn't want to be glitchy on me. And then we also have our mantas here as well, down in the right-hand corner. They've also been very happy with us, coming very, very close to us. We also follow the guidelines for them as well. We stay 4 meters away, never on top, never underneath, never behind, always on the side. But these mantas are coming ridiculously close to us when we're just floating there in the water, and you will see some evidence here in the video that I'm playing at the moment. So they're coming very, very close to us. In this video, I'm literally just floating and they're moving me out of the way. And every time we have gone to find mantas, we've had a 100% success rate as well, which is, it's not rare, but especially when tourists do start to come back to the Maldives, it can get very busy at these known feeding, cleaning, and whale shark sites. So you can have up to, I think, 10, 15 boats, especially at the whale shark site, and you have over 100 people in the water just for one whale shark. And this can cause the whale sharks a lot of stress, and some of them don't even come back to the area. Same goes with the mantas. You can have, 10, 15, 20 boats there, over 100 people, and they're going to be crowding the mantas. Not everyone follows the rules the way we would like them to. We have seen, actually, now that resorts are opening up again, we are seeing people touching the mantas, touching the whale sharks, and that would be the negative side. But a massive positive side is that these animals have been so, so happy just to be left alone during COVID. Unfortunately, with positive effects of something, there are always going to be negative effects, and we have seen some negative effects of the pandemic here in the Maldives. Unfortunately, due to El Niño back in 2016, when the ocean temperature rose by 2 degrees, we had a 95% mortality rate across the Maldives as a whole. All of our corals bleached, and we actually had a slight bleaching at the beginning of COVID as well. And this was a negative effect because many resorts here in the Maldives and many organizations, they have their own coral nurseries, so they're regrowing corals. And since everyone was sent home during COVID, there's no one to look after these nurseries. There was no one to put shade over the nurseries, no one to move them. So unfortunately, all these nurseries that everyone's been working so hard to regrow corals on, unfortunately bleached again, which was very, very sad. We are also seeing illegal fishing. Due to COVID, our rangers aren't out on the boats during COVID, so we don't have anyone patrolling the ocean as much. So people are unfortunately taking advantage of that. So longline fishing, overfishing of a species, fishing in conservation areas. We have quite a few boats that are coming from out of the country, like in Sri Lanka, Indonesia, coming into the Maldives and illegally fishing, which is quite unfortunate. We don't have the rangers here to stop them like they usually would. Also, plastic masks. So the masks that we're all wearing to keep us safe are unfortunately ending up back in the ocean. So as these masks do protect, the rate of infection, which is very important, but I think it's best we start using reusable masks that you can then wash in the laundry. There's a lot of single-use plastics that people are using as protective gear, and this is all going into the ocean over here. And single-use plastics can take up to 450 years or more to degrade. We actually have the government here in the Maldives has banned the import of single-use plastics from 2021, and with this plan they really want to meet the target by 2025. So they want to ban the use of single-use plastics completely. And in most parts of South Asia, which is where we would class ourselves as, just 44% of waste that we produce is collected, and that's one of the lowest rates in the world. So the president of the Maldives has made a waste management program and made it his top priority alongside the World Bank. They're helping as well. They've managed to pledge some money in order to help us reach this goal. So yeah, and then also, unfortunately, another negative effect, this is firsthand, I'm sorry for the negative images, but this is firsthand images that a colleague of mine has sent. So this was taken on July 16th. This is on Maldives. It's in the Rastu Atoll up in North Ari Atoll, and this is a green sea turtle that has unfortunately been poached. You would think that usually turtles would be poached for the carapace on their back for jewelry, etc., etc. But this sea turtle was poached for the muscle, so they could eat the muscle of the sea turtle. So you're seeing all the muscle underneath missing. And like I said, we don't have the rangers out here at the moment to keep this from happening. So people are taking advantage and going to known nesting sites, known areas for sea turtles, and unfortunately poaching them. And we see this, which is quite sad. So I think I'm going to be going into this map here, shows where everyone is collecting data currently for the Our Ocean in COVID-19 project. So I think it's really important that everyone can see. So some people will ask us, oh, where are you collecting data? Who's collecting the data? Where around the world are you collecting it? And this map here shows all of our different partners that are collecting data across the world. And I think this will only grow as well, the more people that get involved.
I'm just going to clarify that this is all the eOceans data so far, and through other projects as well. So we would like to get a map that's similar to this, but on a daily basis. So, you could see the Maldives and you could see how the effort changes day by day, for example.
Yeah, definitely. So the eOceans, we have a mobile application that allows you to collect real-time data at sea, and it also works offline, so you don't have to use any of your data. So we do have a quick explainer video here, which I will play. Let me just click on the link for everyone. Okay.
The chat, right?
The ocean economy is valued at $1.5 trillion per year, providing essential products and services to 1 billion people. Many threats, like plastic pollution, ship collisions, and overfishing, have significant costs. On the other hand, there is ample opportunity to celebrate. Billions have been spent on conservation. Species have come back from the brink of extinction. Fisheries have improved. Tourism has value. Protected areas have grown. Although marine researchers work hard to track these changes, a lack of data means their discoveries often lag years behind ocean change. eOceans can help. Our platform was designed by Dr. Christine Ward-Page, an expert in crowdsourcing ocean data. Our mobile app allows all ocean explorers to become scientists by simply logging what they see. Our analytical tools provide researchers with real-time insights to monitor oceans by species, areas, and issues. Through our community feature, explorers follow how their data are being used to answer complex questions. eOceans is on a mission to help communities and researchers make real-time discoveries to celebrate success, or to mitigate and adapt to change on timescales that keep pace with business, society, and ocean change. Contact eOceans to get a team started in your community today. For the oceans, for us. The ocean economy.
Okay, Philippa, I'm gonna toss the screen share back over to you.
Thank you. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so we've just watched the explainer video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we're just going to move on to explain how to use the app as well once you download it onto your phone.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that's hearing what is happening in the Maldives is a little bit shocking to us here in Atlantic Canada. And what this project is about and for is understanding and tracking and quantifying those observations that you talked about in real time. And that's our call to action to those who are listening in, is we are asking you to download the app, track your activities and log your observations, share what you're seeing, and then follow along with the project as it progresses. And we want you to see the app as kind of your personal activity tracker or digital logbook, that as you are recording your own efforts and sightings out on the water, you are also simultaneously sharing to science. Next slide. So when you go to make your first eOceans log, you will have to make the decision between creating a single observation log or an auto track or transect log. So single observation logs are great for a moment in time. This can be for people who are just going to be at the coastline for a moment, or if you think about how you really want to submit data to eOceans in between making sandcastles or being on the beach, that is when you can use a single observation. But the transect or auto track function is great if you are doing a continual activity. So say you are conducting a beach cleanup from point A to point B, or you are on a boat cruise, either for leisure or research. You can set the transect function and it will record the amount of time you are doing that activity for, which also translates into the amount of effort you are doing your activity for. And as you are going along with your activity, you can also log sightings as you go. So next. So moving from left to right on the screen, on the left side, you will first be asked to take a photo of your surroundings. This is just to provide context. It doesn't need to be everything you're seeing. We're not asking people to get up close and personal to wildlife or other humans. We just really need you to set the stage. What is going on in your area? As you take the photo, the app will mark your location with latitude and longitude, your date, and your time. This really ensures the real-time aspect of data collection. And then what activity are you doing as you're making this observation? If you're surfing, diving, or beach walking, that's really going to change the context of your observations. Next, you're going to select the species or the wildlife that you are seeing. So we have a drop-down list of 500,000 species with common names included. But if you do not know the species you're looking at, but say you know that it is a shark, there's also an option for that too. and how many of that species are you observing in that moment of your log. If you see no species, that is perfectly okay. You can just hit the skip button. And next you will be, oh, sorry, one more part of this slide. You will also, and equally as important, be logging human observations. So this is very important specifically for this project, but we also believe in science as a whole, in understanding the ocean, is how are humans interacting with the ocean. So this is where you can choose the humans that you see doing other activities. So if you see others surfing or you see another fishing boat or dive boat, that's where you can log that and the count, as well as human generated pollution such as noise and plastic pollution. And as Phillipa mentioned, we have been seeing lots of masks and gloves, disposable masks and gloves being reported. So tracking that is really key for this project. And as well as if you see, no species, no humans, and just a clean, pristine beach that's completely empty, that is still a valuable log that helps capture those absences or those zeros, which is equally as important. All right, next slide. Yeah, perfect. So you can also add notes to your log, and this is where you can add some personal notes for yourself, casual notes saying that it was a great day out on the water, or some more scientific or accurate notes if you are keeping a log for yourself to analyze later. But this is also a place for you to tell us a little bit more about how your observations are interacting with one another. So say you recorded a whale and you recorded some ghost gear or some loose fishing gear. But what was really happening was that it was a whale entanglement. So here, and using hashtags, you could say hashtag whale entanglement. And what we're doing is building a portion of the app that will alert us to these in key moments in time so that we can get this information out to the right people. And then verify, have you recorded everything accurately? And once that looks good, you hit save and you've created your first eOceans log. Okay. So you'll also notice on your app, there is a community channel. This is coming soon. It's in the very final stages of being built. And this is where you'll be able to follow along with others' observations and also the teams that you follow. Along with the mobile app, you will also have access to a dashboard, a web application that can be accessed via a browser on your desktop or laptop. And here is where you get to see that global effort of this project going forward and all eOceans data being collected. If you want to explore what it looks like in Atlantic Canada, for instance, this is your option to do so. On the app, you're mostly going to be seeing regional efforts to your area. You'll also be able to view your past logs and edit them. So here is where you'll be able to retroactively add photos, for instance. So if you had some underwater photos that you did not take with your phone, to add to your logs, you can do so here, or perhaps some photos taken on a nicer camera, not on your phone. This is also the place where, if you are interested, you can upgrade and download your own personal data collection. This was useful for researchers who may be interested in doing analysis on their logs. Okay, next. And one really important fact about eOceans is that the data you collect is yours. So the only people who get to see what you have recorded are yourself and the teams you choose to share it with. So currently, while you're using the app, you are agreeing to share it with us, the eOceans team, who is running or heading the Our Ocean and COVID-19 project at the global level. But soon you will also see a team for your region. So there will be a Maldives team, and some of that data will be going to Phillipa for data interpretation. And then as the app kind of grows in use and popularity, we are hoping that other people use this platform to answer their own research questions. So a team would be able to pose a research question via the platform and ask for data on specific observations. So as an individual, if you really align with the team's research objective, or mission, you can manually join them. And then once you do that, your data that is relevant to them and when it's collected will filter to them to help answer their question. Okay, back to you, Philippa.
Okay. So a lot of frequently asked questions. I'm guessing with any app, there's always going to be questions that people have to ask. One of the main ones is, does the app work offline? Do I need Wi-Fi? Do I have to use my data? But don't worry, the app does work offline. However, you will need to download it while online. But you can also, you don't have to use any of your data, so no worries about that at all. So when you're on the boat, you don't have to worry about it. Another thing is, people are asking, do we need to take a photo of everything we see? The answer to that is no, you don't need to take a photo of everything you see. You just need to take a photo of the area that you're currently in, which then provides further context on what you and everyone else logs. Another question is, what if I don't see anything? But still, don't worry, still record a few or hundreds of observations, even if there are no animals there. That really does help contribute towards the data collection process as well. And moving on to the next slide. So another main thing is to get involved and spread the word and to become an ocean partner. So currently here we have reached out to Kuramati Maldives, and they are a resort up in the North Ari Atoll by Rastu Atoll. And we have contacted Rastu divers there, and they are very excited to be involved in the project as well. And also our very own Sea Star divers here at Maafushivaru as well. We've got a very, enthusiastic team. They really want to get involved, and we're really looking forward to getting more people involved around the Maldives so we can have a look at what's happening, not just in the North Ari Atoll and the South Ari Atoll, but really having a look at the broader picture to get everyone involved and get as much data as possible, so it gives a variety as well. Another main aspect of having a research project this large is to spread the word, and it's really important through social media to spread this word as well. So we have a Facebook page, which is the Our Ocean in COVID-19 Facebook page. Just like the YouTube video we just watched, which explains the project and what we're doing. We also have an Instagram, which is, you can see the handle there, eOceans. So if you see, take any photos and want to tag us in those photos, please do, spread the love, and you can even use some of our hashtags as well that you can see. And furthermore, we also have a Twitter account, and the handle is just below as well. It is eOceans, and at eOceans_sci. And please use the hashtags as well. The more you use the hashtags, the more we see your posts, and the more that we can share them as well to show how many people are involved.
I'll also mention real quick that the Our Ocean and COVID-19 Facebook group is a great place to get involved if you cannot collect data, if you're not by the coast. But it is it's really valuable to us in this project to understand what's happening in your region. So this group is mainly for people to share news and immediate things that are going on with the ocean, so that we can get a better picture of what's happening globally.
Of course, thank you. And thank you very much for listening. And that's the end of the presentation.
It was great. It was amazing. It was.
I hope so.
Very helpful. I did have a couple questions.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. One is about the behavior of the whale sharks and the manta rays. So you talked about them, having 100% success rate. And have you been collecting that data in the past to know how the difference is? Like 100%, is that, over this same time period? And has that ever happened before? Like how often that happens?
So unfortunately, I mean, especially for me, they were collecting data beforehand, before I got here. So the marine biologists before me were collecting data of when they saw the whale sharks. And we also, when we log it in for the whale shark research program, we also log in the date as well. But we noticed that, especially now, I mean, you can see whale sharks here year round. And then peak season for mantas and whale sharks is from November to December. But still, we're seeing the whale sharks and mantas year round around here. And it is, you know, it was very nice to see whale sharks every single time we were coming to we were going along the Marmagilly and Lux and Dagura area along the outside the reef. And we were seeing them every single time. But now a lot of resorts have opened back up. And for the past week, I think over a week and a half now, we haven't found any whale sharks, none.
So I'm just wondering about those past records, if we can possibly think of some way to include them to actually document the previous.
Yes, of course. I can go through. So on the, actually, if I'm looking at it here right now, on the Big Fish Network, where we upload all of our data, we have actually, here we have 448 trips logged with 538 encounters. So I can go through all of these dates. Some of these dates go back to 2011 as well. So,
and those would include zeros.
Yes, they include zeros as well.
Okay, that would be great. That would be interesting. The other thing I thought about was the behavior aspect that you were mentioning, where they were coming close to you. And just to be a little bit of a devil's advocate, is that if you had hundreds of people in the ocean before,
yeah,
they would be coming close. They can't come that close to everyone, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly. There's only a small group of us when we're with them.
So if there were hundreds of people, did they ever come that close to at least a couple people? So right now there's just a few of you, right? So it's like
they would in a sense, but we've actually experienced it. So with whale sharks, majority of the time they will be swimming against the current because it's more of a chance for them to eat. And we've noticed that when there's a large group of people involved, and they're basically, unfortunately, these people aren't giving the whale shark space. They're the ones getting closer. They're the ones that want to be close to it and get the photo and put it on social media. But we are experiencing it and seeing firsthand. I do have some videos of the whale sharks becoming stressed to the point where they can't see a way out of all of these people, and they will then turn and start swimming with the current, which is very rare for them. And then they're really struggling to dive because you've got, you know, snorkelers and free divers. You have snorkelers and divers and free divers all there trying to get underneath them as well. So you can see them stressed, trying to figure out which way to go, how to dive. And then once they dive, after that, it takes them about 40 minutes to then come back up to the surface to see if everyone's gone.
So they're not diving now. Like when there were fewer people, they're not doing those.
When there's fewer people, our encounters are, I mean, when there's loads of people there, the encounters are literally like 5 minutes max because they become too stressed and then they dive. And at the moment, we're having encounters for like 30 plus minutes. We're in the water just swimming with them.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just helps to decipher some of the confounding.
Yeah. Sorry if I didn't explain it enough.
No, that was great. No, it was great. I mean, it was high level, right? But for someone like me, I'm like, you know, trying to piece apart any critiques or caveats.
No worries.
The other question I had was about illegal fishing in the area. So what is illegal fishing versus just like, is it illegal to fish? So is there actual?
It's not illegal to fish, no. I mean, so the majority of the Maldives economy runs off of tourism because it's a major touristic destination. But the other part of the economy is really big on fishing. So loads of local fishermen and fishing companies, they do fish for these resorts, for these islands. However, there is the illegal fishing. So for example, I mean, with tuna and salmon, you can't overfish them. You can only fish a certain amount and then they'll weigh it. And then at the moment they're overfishing it because, you know, there's no one there to weigh it at the moment. And then also, for example, finning for sharks and also manta rays and whale sharks as well. It is illegal here in the Maldives to catch mantas, sharks, whale sharks, but due to the lack of ranges out here, people are taking advantage of the fact that they can I mean, just the other day, we were on a snorkel and I was like, oh, what's all of this white stuff on the reef? I was really intrigued, and it was actually someone had obviously illegally fished a black tip, well, I was guessing black tip reef shark, and cut all the fins off and then thrown it back in the water while it's still alive. The shark then dies of hypoxia because it can't move past the water over its gills. And other animals have torn it apart, and so the white stuff I was seeing was just like the rest of the flesh that had been in the water for too long. So it is sad to see. It's the first time I've ever seen that here in the Maldives. But yeah, overfishing and illegal fishing. Long line fishing as well is illegal here, and people are long line fishing as well.
I was just about to ask if you've seen any like changes in types of fishing, like as in long line.
I haven't. I mean, around here in the in our atoll, I haven't seen any long line fishing. I only see the traditional Maldivian fishing, which is like you don't even have a rod. You literally fish with the line and with your hands. That's it. But definitely like big game fishing, and also these trawlers. They're going out into open waters, deeper water. They won't do it inside the atolls because there's too many people watching. They'll do it in open ocean.
But that's legal, or it's not legal?
So it depends on what kind of fishing they're doing. If it's like, normal fishing, that's fine. But if they're long line fishing, fishing for whale sharks, mantis, because they can also be in open ocean as well, then that's the illegal part of it, yeah.
Yeah. So the rangers, this is my last question. Rangers, why aren't they out? Is this part of a COVID measure, or is it the financial, or?
I don't fully know, but speaking to one of my colleagues here, it was a COVID measure, and two, it was also financial. So due to COVID, the Maldives completely shut down, and they're losing like over half of their income due to this. So the government then can't pay for these rangers to be out on the water. And unfortunately, I mean, especially around here, if you don't get paid, people are like, no, I'm not working. So
you're gonna go fish, or you go fishing, because now you got to still feed your family, right? So
exactly. So they go fishing, they still want to feed their families. So that's why a lot of resorts, I mean, especially the one that I work for and the family that we're in, there's 3 islands, we're like a little, they're owned by the same family. They all looked after us really well. We weren't getting our full salary, but we were still getting a salary every month.
So I guess, like, I wondered when you said it, I was thinking of the rangers, like maybe the perception is that they only need to be there when there's tourists there to make sure that fishers don't come in while there's too many people watching. It could be reputation, it could be for safety, it could be for a variety of reasons. And so while there's diminished, tourism, that they may feel that there's the need isn't there to, push that back. So it's super
very difficult I mean, the Maldives is like thousands of islands here. So it's just like, it's so difficult. I mean, especially, patrolling, international waters, that's just impossible. But even patrolling the islands here, the Maldives, yes, it's a small area, but there's loads of islands. There's loads of places that people could be. So it is still difficult for them to patrol absolutely everywhere. So they're always going to miss something, and people will always take advantage of that.
And, how do you choose where your effort goes when you have a limited
Exactly.
patrol boats? Thank you so much.